The Miata is the most raced sports car in the world. It is so popular that they even created a special race class in the US, in the SCCA, called Spec Miata, wherein only Miatas can race. The US also gets the MX5 Global Cup car, a race-prepped, stripped-down race car that competed in the said Global Mazda MX5 Cup. Now, not to be outdone, Mazda Philippines is launching the Miata Spec series, wherein driver skill is the only difference since all the Miatas racing in this race event will have the same specs. And today, we are here in Mazda Makati, and this is the exact MX5 that will race in the Philippines Miata Spec race series, and we will go around this car and I will share with you what it is all about. Let's do this. The Philippine Miata Spec MX5 that we have here was conceptualized and the race series was organized by Race Gas Dynamics, led by Alan Uy. It's the only rear-wheel drive sports car racing championship series that is now in the Philippines. Though this MX5 shares some similarities to the US Global Cup car, it has one key difference that gives it a tremendous advantage over its US counterpart. This, my friends, is a completely street legal MX5. That's right, you heard me. This is a street legal MX5. So that means you can just drive her from your home, going to the racetrack, participate in one of these races, and drive out of the racetrack, heading back home, or even make a quick stop for groceries at the grocery store. That is a big advantage over the US Spec Global Cup car, which is not street legal. So what are the key differences between this Miata Spec MX5 race car and the stock MX5 that Mazda Philippines is selling? Now let's go around the car and let's find out. First up, we have the engine. As you can see, it's completely stock. Nothing in the internals has been changed, but we do have here the updated engine of the MX5. This now pumps up 181 horsepower and now comes with a red line of 7,500 RPM coming from the previous 6,800 RPM. Now, even if the engine remains stock, we do have here a Mazda Speed front strut brace, which has been added since this is a manual MX5, and the manual MX5s here in the Philippines do not come with a front strut brace. In this case, we have a Mazda Speed front strut brace. Now, I'd like to divert your attention over here. You could see this is the I-stop capacitor, and we also still have air conditioning in this race car. I mean, it's probably the only official race car in the world, maybe, that comes with air conditioning. That's because it is still street legal. Now, while the engine internals remain stock and the entire engine hasn't been touched in any way, this Miata Spec MX5 comes with a custom catback exhaust system. That gives it a little bit of that race car bark when it's on full throttle. And if you want to hear it in action, you could always watch the upcoming Miata Spec race series, which will begin in May 2020. Miatas are some of the best handling sports cars in the world, and this MX5 is no exception as well. For this Miata Spec race series MX5, the builders have focused on improving its handling several notches from stock. What we have here, instead of the stock wheels, is a set of Concept 1 wheels and Nitto tires. Now, the wheels still remain at 17-inch, but the width has been increased to 7.5 inches, coming from 7 inches from the stock wheel. Now, the Nittos that we have here are NT555s, and the size are 215/45 R17s. These tires will ensure that the cars will have maximum grip while taking those turns during track events. You may notice that this Miata Spec MX5 is riding a little bit lower to the ground than a stock MX5. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a little bit lower. It's actually slammed to the ground. That's because most of the suspension bits of this Miata Spec MX5 has been swapped out for better aftermarket goodies. The coilovers are now Cusco Street Zero coilovers, and we also have front and rear Cusco sway bars. These components should help improve the handling of this Miata Spec MX5. Aside from the sway bars and the coilovers, we also have Cusco power braces, which helps improve the rigidity of this car when handling those race corners. Now, if you will take a look at the brakes in this Miata Spec MX5 still remain stock. Now, that's something that I find to be a bit odd considering that this is tagged as a race car. We do have steel braided brake lines, but the pads and the rotors still remain stock. And when I say stock, these are not the stock Brembo brakes found in the Miata Club spec in the US. Instead, these are your regular Mazda brake pads and rotors. So the drivers who will participate in this Miata Spec race series should modulate on their brakes very well. They should take good care that it doesn't heat up prematurely, else it might just cost them the win in these races. Now, if you will look at the design of this MX5, you could immediately tell that it is a race car. It is a sports car that has been prepped for track racing because of all these decals, of all the sponsors, and all the livery that you have around the car. There is no mistaking that you could say this is no ordinary MX5. It shares a bit of the look of the global MX5 Cup car, but I will say it again, this is a street legal version of that said car. Moving on to the interior of this car, the first thing you will notice is this bright red 6-point race harness that we have right here. This is meant, of course, for safety regulations and to ensure that no accidents would result in the loss of life or injury when it comes to races. Safety is always one of the top priorities that we have in Philippine racing. So this bright red 6-point roll bar is indicative that this is actually a race car. Now, if you will look at the shape of this roll bar, you would probably think, how could it be street legal? Maybe you couldn't even close the roof anymore. But fear not, since we live in hot and humid tropical Philippines, this MX5 needs to have a closable and functional roof. And I'm going to share with you right now how to operate the roof. You probably couldn't close it anymore from inside, but we'll give it a shot also. But you just lift this again, all right, and bring the roof up over the roll cage and close it. There you go. See? Completely functional soft top roof that will protect you from the elements, from rain, from heat, and from Metro Manila pollution. Now, removing the roof is a simple operation again. You just unlatch it, throw it back, lock it in place, and now you have a MX5 the way it should be, with no roof, but with your 6-point roll cage exposed. Now I'm going to give it a shot coming from inside. Let's go in. All right. Okay. So I'm now here inside this Miata Spec MX5, and I'll try to close the roof from inside the car. So I'll bring this up, and I have to put the roof over the roll cage, and yes, confirmed, you can still close the roof while sitting inside this MX5. Now I'm going to remove the roof. It's still a fairly quick and easy process to remove the roof, but putting it up no longer takes just 3 seconds because you have to clear the roll cage right here. Now, since I'm already seated here in the seats, you will notice that this Miata Spec MX5 comes with Sparco racing seats. These are race buckets. They're non-adjustable and they're quite comfortable for somebody of my build. And right in front of me, I have here a Sparco steering wheel, and you'll also notice that there are no more driver's side airbags available for this car. It has been deleted in favor of this leather-wrapped Sparco wheel with a yellow indicator of the center line. Other than that, we also have here the kill switch, which all race cars need to have just in case of an engine fire or an accident. This switch will just immediately kill the engine to prevent any further mishaps. We also have a 5-point Sparco racing harness, which would help you stay in place while you are doing your track duties. Other than that, if you will look at the interior, I forgot to mention, the driver's side also comes with a custom aluminum plate for the footwell, but your pedals do not come with aluminum pedals. It's still the same stock Mazda pedals. It's not even the Mazda speed pedals, which I already purchased for my MX5. They also remove some of the unnecessary plastic bits, but other than that, the interior of this car remains perfectly stock. One funny thing, you have your air conditioning, you still have your infotainment system, you have a full dashboard, you've got a full interior sidings for your doors, you even have your power windows and power side mirrors. They're still intact. Now you still have, and the biggest thing here is Mazda did not decide to delete the DVD player. The DVD player could still be found right in the middle of the two seats. It's still there, even if they already deleted that small cubby. The only glove box that you can say that you have in the MX5 has been deleted in favor of the roll cage. So what limited storage space you already had before, you now have much less storage space in this MX5. You still do have your center cubby right here, which you can store tiny pieces of stuff. Now I shared with you how easy it was to get in this race spec MX5. We are now going to try to get out. See, one of the things is you have your roll cage here, so I'm going to grab onto it since this is supposed to be the, this is the support. Oh my goodness, yeah, you gotta have a strong upper body to pull yourself up and out of this race car, because aside from this bar, you still have to contend with this bar found here at the side of the driver. Bit of a sacrifice, but you do have to make some sacrifices for the sake of safety. So how much does this Miata Spec MX5 race car cost? Well, you can head over to Mazda Makati because they are the only dealer that is now authorized to sell these babies, and they go for 2.5 million pesos. Now if you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of money for a manual transmission MX5, well, take heart, because look at it. You've got all your upgrades. You got your wheels, your tires, your suspension, your racing seats, and the roll cage, and all these little bits and pieces, including all the stickers. But at the same time, when you purchase one of these, Mazda will give to you all the stock parts that they replace, brand new. So you get your Concept 1 wheels and your Nitto tires, but at the same time you get your set of 4 stock MX5 wheels and the Bridgestone tires that came with it. So if you're the type that you don't want to to drive with these Nitos and these Concept 1 wheels on the road, you want to save them for the track, then you can just slap on your stock wheels, drive it to the track, and then replace them with these regulation Concept 1 wheels and Nito tires. Aside from that, you get your stock seats that came with the car, you get your stock shocks, you get your stock front and rear sway bars. So these all come with a package. But then aside from that, there's still more. Since this car will participate in that one make MX5 race series that's going to be launched in May 2020, you also will receive your own racing suit, your racing gloves, and your racing shoes, because Race Gas Dynamics and Mazda Philippines wants you to look the part, because your car looks the part of a race car. So you should look the part of a race car driver as well. Now remember, if you decide to join this one make race series, this Spec Miata series that's going to come out in 2020, you have to make sure that you do not change anything in this car, because the engine will be sealed, the vital and major components, transmission and all that will be sealed. Even the brake pads should not be changed, because this is a race where pretty much all the cars are identical. It will only be driver skill that will be the main difference on who will win and who won't win. Anyway, if you're going to join that, you have to make sure you keep it as is, coming from the showroom, and there's going to be a minimum weight requirement. So that means that there's really no advantage to any team or any race car driver who will participate in this series. And at the same time, the organizers will conduct an inspection before, during, and after each race heat. So that is the gist of this one make race series we will have here in the Philippines. Now, if you are one of those aspiring race car drivers who would want to snag one of these babies, you can just send your inquiry via email to Race Gas Dynamics. This is their email right here, and well, shoot them an email, find out how you could get in, alright? Especially if you have an existing MX5, you could also participate in these races. They will just have to modify your car according to spec and certify it, and you are in. Even if your MX5 has an automatic transmission, don't worry, you could still get in. Anyway, I hope you guys like my video. If you do like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, show your love in the comments below. What do you think of this car? What do you think of this one make series that we're gonna have here in the Philippines? Hit me in the comments below. I'll see you again in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.